All right, it says we're live. Welcome, everybody. And uh, let me go through real quick and say hello. I don't think there are a lot of, well, there are some people in here. Uh-oh. Hey, Paul, welcome. Huawei's already got links up. He's got the GoFundMe for Dusty up. He's got the step-by-step guide to hide the annoying heart. Skipper, Jenny Lynn, June, and that may be it. So we'll see who else comes in. Everybody that's anybody's here, that's for sure.
Right.
Right. And there's Sketty Nona. I meant to say except Sketty Nona. So Sarah. So we got Skipper on the panel down below, Floyd down there. And he and Floyd dress the same. I'm supposed to point that out. Oop. You like that? You like his shirt? You're so crazy, Floyd. And today, our special guest is our own one and only Suzy Q Aquatics. And she is wound up and raring to go. So, what are you going to do, Suzy? What are you going to show us?
I'm going to start off by showing the enclosures because everybody's sleeping. But I'm going to see if I can wake some people up. But I'm going to show off the enclosures a little bit, the size of them, the problems with them, because this is stuff I deal with all the time. And I got a couple of guys that won't mind if I wake them up. Now I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17 reptiles. None of them are snakes. None of them are snakes.
That's just wrong.
And if you count the turtles and tortoises as reptiles too, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are in here. And I got 3 Russian tortoises that are sleeping outside in I built this big cabin form, insulated cabin. And yeah, and I also got in the other room, I've got a couple of leopard geckos that's in the room that I usually stream in. I have my South American wood turtles, Woody and Pecker. They're in there as well. And they're both like it in like a 4 foot long, but small. It's only like 12 by 12, but it's 4 foot long. So it's only for the winter. So that's cool.
Do they have any? Go ahead.
I got a quick question about, you said you got your Russian tortoises outside, and as cold as it got here in Pennsylvania, 2 weeks ago, I think it is now. What did you do to keep them warm out there? You said you built an insulated cabin, but do you have to have a heat light with them too?
No. I built an insulated cabin that's 8 foot long, 2 foot by 2 foot. John calls it a coffin. But I use the, it's insulated on the floor, walls, and ceiling. Filled it up about this far full of hay. Have them separated because Russian tortoises really aren't community tortoises. They like to be by themselves. So I separate them with cinder blocks, and they have buried themselves down. I've checked on them every couple weeks. They're fine. They're sleeping. When I open the door, they wake up and and then they go back to sleep again. So inside there, it has not gotten below 32 at all. And it's actually, I think it was around 49 when we were freezing.
Mm-hmm.
It was 49. Now, wow. The other turtles I have outside, they just dig a hole in the ground and stay until it's time to come out. They decide when they come out. Now, they're also in an 8x8, but it's not insulated. I just put insulation roof on it because they're from this area, so they like to be out, not like, but they are out in this.
Yeah.
My birds are out of hibernation. I don't have any turtles that went into hibernation except for my water turtles. A lot of those went into hibernation. My water turtles are on the bottom of my pond, and it's about a 4 foot deep pond where they're at. And every once in a while, they'll come up, but they don't come up for food or anything. They're just sound asleep on the bottom, and they don't breathe water. So I just find that extremely fascinating. And those are my red ear sliders, my yellow bellies, and the terrapin I brought inside, and he's in a 40-gallon in the other room. So he's not outside. And then I've got my 2-year-old turtles, about 5 or 6 of them, in a tub in my fish room. So they kind of are on the bottom. They're not eating, but they're not hibernating either. But if their metabolism automatically slowed down, I just don't worry about them.
You just see if they'll take food, and then if they don't, you
Right.
just
And
take
the other
it
ones
out.
outside that are not hibernating, that live in this outside all the time in this cold weather, are my 2 chickens, my duck, and my rabbit. Rabbits are very easily, outside as long as they stay outside. You
Yes.
can't have a rabbit that you bring inside for these seasons. That, like, they need to be outside for the fall to start building up that. So they're all outside in the same coop. So that's interesting.
June said they breathe through their cloaca.
Okay. Then they're on the bottom. Normally, they're not all in the same pond either. They each have their own pond. Gina has my big pond all to herself. Wilbur's over there. Yertle's up front. But because I was afraid those smaller tubs that are only 2.5 feet deep would freeze, I put them all in the big pond. So I know it doesn't freeze on my waterfall. Has not stopped yet, even with the freezing temperatures we had for 2 weeks, because it's moving.
Yeah.
They all have these big air, like an air stone. And as long as the air stone is moving and bubbling, that part there is not frozen. So I know there's air exchange. And I think that's more important. I think that's how I lost my bullfrog 2 years ago. He was only 5 years old. He was about this big, Jeremiah. But the air stone got kicked out. Well, the plug, somebody turned my light off. It's a do not turn off light switch for the outside. And they turned it off. And I didn't notice it. It was probably about 2 months. So when I cleaned out that, Jeremiah was on the bottom. I was so sad because I've had that bullfrog since he was a little tadpole.
What did you feed Jeremiah?
No, I don't feed my outside. They
didn't feed him?
whatever they want. There's tons of mice out there. I'm sure he eats some mice. There's I feed the turtle. Whether Jeremiah eats any of the koi food or not. But they usually eat the koi food. I've got those mealworms, the chickens, the turtles go crazy for the dried up mealworms.
Yeah.
There's a bullfrog at one of the local stores here, and he's not that big, but I mean, he's getting there, but he eats mice, but he only eats live mice because he likes to hunt. And I don't want anything else I have to give mice.
Yeah, that's why Jeremiah is always outside, because he can hunt all the mice he can get. Like, please do so.
Now, do you have
mice tend to invade my home?
To keep him in there? Do you have a wall or something so he can't get out? Or
So aside from I think it's a 300-gallon tub.
Yeah.
Like one of those tubs that go like this with the air stone and waterfall, but I did turn the waterfall off, that waterfall. I have one of those black fences that you get at Home Depot that hook into each other. It's about 4 foot high. But the bottom rails are really tight. And then that goes around probably about 10-foot circle and attaches to the pond. My mailman stops, talks to the turtle all the time. It's so funny. But I had to put something on the bottom because as soon as the turtle saw that there was outside, he just kept walking the perimeter. I put up that plastic corrugated stuff all along the bottom 12 inches, and he never tried to do that again. It's like out of sight, out of mind. So he's in the water. He's probably got about 2-3 foot of land all around the pond, and it's all basking, and he can dig. He can do whatever he wants. That's his area. I did set up another one on the other side, but I don't like it. It's not good. It's not as good.
June knows all the words to Three Dog Nights. Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Never understood a single word he said. I forgot all that. It was a cool song.
Oh, so real quick, Jenny Lynn did have 2 geckos that hatched.
Yay, congratulations.
They're cuties too.
She sent me a bunch of pictures on how she set up a 20 long for heating.
There's a
20 long for the geckos?
Yeah.
Are
For
they
if you want to keep one.
Is it
If
leopard
I'm-
geckos or crested geckos? Jenny Lynn?
They're
I think they're crested geckos. For some reason in my head, I think crested geckos, but I could be wrong.
3 so far. The last I saw it was just 2.
Ooh. Leopard
Leopard.
geckos. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have
leopards.
1, 2, 3 leopard geckos in this room. One that has no hands in the other room that, like, when I got him, I rescued him from a store who gave him to me. He had metabolic bone disease. And if you don't know what that is, you have to give calcium and vitamins to these reptiles because the UV light is not enough. And their bones turn to like mush and it's very painful. And then if they start eating right now, their bones harden that way. So his bones hardened, all crunkle up like this. So he doesn't get around much. He kind of like gets tongue fed. He wants to be a hunter, but he can't really move around. So all my other guys have lots of places to climb. His is more like one level. And then I got an African fat tail, which is like the same as a leopard gecko. An African fat tail.
I saw that, Bruiser. Y'all got crested geckos this past weekend.
Oh yes.
Ooh. Who did?
Bruiser and Jenny Lynn.
Oh, I love my crested gecko. Yeah.
You know what you ought to do is make a logo, because you're great at that, Susie. Make a logo and put on the side of that coffin. On that enclosure that says hog nose or bust.
Oh, John will say bust, baby, bust. Yeah.
All the boys and girls. She knows every word of that song.
All the boys and girls now. Here's to the people in the deep blue sea, the joy to you
I
and
was
me.
looking to see who else came in. Coro did for sure. Hey, Coro. And I think others did, but I didn't see them. So, well, should I blow you up and let's get to it, or
We can, but we're going to see a lot of enclosures unless somebody's awake. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
all right? I'm gonna blow you up.
Okay. Let's see
Blow it
if
if
we
you
can.
sing.
We're going to start over here. This is all these enclosures are diamond-shaped corner cabinets I built, like 4 by 4 and about 2 foot high. I put these sliding glass doors in, which is why they're all falling apart. I didn't know how to put sliding glass doors in. This is up here for no other reason, but so he doesn't see outside, because he's also a window surfer. He's awake. This guy is my bearded dragon that has no scales. He's known as a silky. Let's see if he will let me pick him up. Okay. It's okay. Don't be doing it. It's okay. So he is a silky. You can see he's got skin. He gets a bath a couple times a week, and then I rub him down with this afterwards, which is why he only has a 5.0 light, so it doesn't burn him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Clementine. He is struggling to gain weight. The vet said he does not have worms, so I'm giving him a lot of we call them the green hornworms and wax worms. And he eats like 3 times as much. And I just think his metabolism slowed down or something. But this is the result. It's like a deformity. This is a result of breeding 2 leatherbacks. If you have like 4 or 5 babies, one of them will probably be a silky. And they're such high maintenance. Now he's right now, he or she. She is I'm gonna say about 5 years old. 6 years old, and they don't usually live very long, but because she's pampered, if you can't tell, she's pampered with her special baths and stuff. She's the one that I can walk around like this for long periods of time. I just hold on to her because it's kind of cold. I haven't had heat in my house for a couple weeks, and it's really irritating for me. And the only space heater that I have and can plug in is down here in the reptile room. And that's basically when their lights go out at night. The heat, it's not a heat bulb. It's just like it emits heat. stays on, but I don't think it's enough. So I keep this room at about 65 degrees.
Can you do a fecal transplant or something with another lizard?
A fecal, like put poop somewhere else?
Yeah, I guess for the bacteria, the gut bacteria or something.
Oh, wow, maybe.
Or how do you get their probiotic?
This one is such a joy to have. He lost the tip of his tail a long, long time ago. And he's in a perpetual state of shed, perpetual. So he never gets a relief from it, the poor guy, which is why he gets so many baths and soakings, and I feel bad for him.
Where did you get him?
I walked into the store and I asked, what is that? Because it didn't look like a bearded dragon to me. I'm like, what is that? And they said, oh, the breeder brought him in. It's a silkback. And then she explained it to me. And I put him on my shoulder while I walked around their store. And I just fell in love. I'm like, I got to have him. She said, like, well, it's not for sale because he's high maintenance, blah, 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 blah. So she explained what had to happen with him all the time. And I'm like, he's mine. So she just gave him to me. So it's kind of like a rescue, but he wasn't in dire need of being rescued. He just wasn't really for sale, but she found a good home. And if you can see inside his enclosure, probably not. It's like 4 foot by 4 foot, and his hammock, sorry, bud, is made of cloth, not that straw, because he's got skin. He doesn't have any scales. So, and all the plants in here are fake because he eats them all. I can't buy enough plants. He just will eat one every week. I could buy a brand new aloe vera plant every week and he will eat it, which is fine if I had money. But you see how these are coming off the track? It's because I made them and I don't know what I'm doing. I really want somebody who knows cabinetry to come over one day and help me.
Did you make the track or did you get the pre-made?
I did. I made some of the track. I found some that were plastic and I'm using those, which are horrible.
Yeah.
I made some out of wood, which is even more horrible because they're warping now and getting stuck. I heard that they make metal ones. I have never found one. I would love that. Metal ones, I think, would just glide. What I did with the glass is John and his HVAC world uses this metal tape for stuff. I use this to line all of the glass to help it smoothly open and close and not cut my fingers open all the time.
Home Depot used to have the metal tracks,
I thought they did. I could not find any anywhere.
Huh.
You see, all this comes out, all this bedding comes out all the time because he's just kicking around. And this is because he's a glass surfer. And if you don't know what that is, it's like an animal who's like, once they see it's glass, they want to get out, like kind of like the bearded dragons and whatnot, turtles and tortoises.
Yeah.
I drilled these holes up here. You can't see it. You still can't see it. I drilled these holes up here and put the desk thing in them.
Yeah.
And in hopes to keep the bugs in. But I get those silly roaches coming out of there. I'm like, oh my gosh. So now I got to make sure that they get eaten before I walk away. Where before it was just like, and I've had isopods coming out of them. I'm like, okay, well that didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
Well, the reason I know I got them is because when the guy was making this, oh my gosh, hold on. We lost her. She pushed a button.
Probably when she was trying to move it.
Yeah. The guy was making this cabinet for the 180. He wanted me to go with him. And of course, every option, I wanted the best, the most, the whatever. So the metal ones they did have, but then we didn't ever finish and it was going to have plexiglass in it. And I decided I didn't want that in there. I wanted to leave them open. So wasted track. I should pull it off and send it to Suzy, right?
I can tell you right now, I'm looking at that stuff and it's pricey. That stuff is pricey.
Yeah,
you you can get them in so many different forms. But the one she's looking for is to have two tracks going side by side.
Yeah.
It could be pricey.
Yeah. So you can pull each side back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that by the time he had to put a brace in the middle of the 180, the stand, the cabinet, and I thought, well, that's not even enough to where he was sliding open, to get in there. So I store stuff in there, and the cat's hide in there. She came home briefly, but then there she's trying to come on. She's trying to come on.
Every time I touch my computer, it keeps like disappearing. I don't know why. But when I went to come back on, I have to go on Facebook and click the link. And I just saw that Steve got married. I'm like,
Ah,
what?
What? Yeah,
So
didn't know that
pretty
was coming.
exciting. That's pretty exciting, man. She's a cutie. That's good. It's a good match. But anyway, was there a question when I was talking, or I was just babbling?
yeah. Coro said, have you tried the velvet window trim, like weather stripping? He's seen that in the bottom of like display cabinets.
Huh. I don't know what that is. Velvet?
I think I know what it is.
That'd be cool. Now
But
down
there-
here is my baby bearded dragon. He's probably 1.5 years now. Oh, come on, baby. And he is a leatherback as well. What? What? Is he not the cutest?
Oh
He
man,
is
that one
cute.
is cool.
Looks like a beetle.
Now, does he have a lot of problems or no?
No, he doesn't have any problems except for he's such a juvenile that he's not going to just hang out like the older ones do. But he does hang out when I give him a bath. He only gets a soak maybe once every 2 months. He'll just soak, stick his head under. Isn't that a beauty? I'm in love with him. This is Hammer. I think this is the only bearded dragon I actually bought. This is the only one I bought. The other ones were like either given to me, rehomed to me. But I bought him not too long ago, right before I stopped camping. Because, of course, when you go camping someplace all the time, you kind of have a local fish store there.
Yeah.
So he's in the same thing, but he's got 2 tiers. So not only does he have the 4x4, let's see. He's also got that little shelf up there. See him there? It's hard to see him. And then he's got the underneath. And that's his enclosure. And then I put that fake turf up on the side in hopes that he could rub up against it and try to get some of his shit off when he's ready.
Yeah.
Now that window slides nicely back and forth. I think in the beginning when I bought glass, I bought the cheap stuff. And then as I was cutting, and some of it I got plexi, which is just horrid, absolutely horrible. Then I went to my local hardware store and said, look, this is what I need. And I told her the exact dimensions because I didn't plumb anything. I didn't know what I was doing. So it was like I told her what sizes they were, and they cut the glass for me and everything. The only thing they didn't do is stand it down. That's why I got this tape on everything.
Oh, yeah.
I did talk about the calcium and vitamins, how important it is, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to move over here. Now, this is going to get a lot of hate from people. Don't hate, guys. This is my, let's see. I have 2 leopard geckos in here. They're sisters. They're 3.5 years old. There's one that stays back there. This is a hot hide humid. They both have cool hides. So they each have 2 of everything in here. It's a huge enclosure. I garbage picked it. Like, what? This was in the garbage. Look at that. And
That's
it's
crazy.
got like a little cage. It's absolutely beautiful. But I know a lot of people say you can't keep them together. Don't keep leopard geckos together, you're going to regret it. So I do have other spaces I could put in if anything was to happen.
Well, now I've researched. It says you can keep most females together. Not
Well, and
always.
these are also sisters, so I have not seen a problem yet with food, hides, anything. And then, do you want to see my uromastics? They sleep as soon as the sun goes down. They sleep. I'm going to open this. My uromastics. I have 3 of them in here, and the hot spot is probably about 160 degrees.
Jeez.
Fucking hot.
Man, that's hot.
It's a little different than the bearded dragons. These guys never need water. And I'm sorry if it's all jiggly. But I have a level down here. They eat lots of salad and lettuce. That goes all the way over. They got a cat box with sand in it and stuff. And then up here is another hot spot and a whole nother level that runs the whole 4 feet. So it's almost like having 2 4-foot enclosures for them.
Yeah.
And because there's a lot of them, there's 3 of them, and they get along fine. They do great. I'm going to try to turn my camera, hopefully. Oh, before I go, I have not had my females together for the last 3 years. Oh, yeah. I have had. Okay, good.
Oh, we're talking.
We hate on her too, then.
Yeah. Now down here, it used to be a tortoise enclosure, but this is where I keep, because there's so much dubia roaches, mealworms, superworms, whatnot. Like this is when I go grocery shopping. This is filled with stuff. This tortoise enclosure, my sulcatas don't fit in it anymore. Then over here, I have a 40-gallon breeder that's on wheels. So when I get crickets, those wheels help me pull it out, because a 40-gallon breeder at my age it's getting hard to move around, and it's got a lid on it. So I could just dump my crickets in there. I can keep them alive for probably about 3 weeks. But after that, they're dead and they become aquatic turtle food. But I try not to get more than I need in a feeding, because I only give them crickets like once a week. I'll go out and I get 200 or 300 crickets, and that's it.
You throw them dead crickets out there with the chickens, man, they'll go nuts over them.
Oh my God, I know, right? They go nuts over everything. The watermelon I brought out, the spaghetti squash, everything I bring out, they just love.
They're like little scavengers.
They're so great. I'm going to turn slowly. Is that a question for me?
Yeah.
Yes.
What does this say?
Oh, do you have any advice about keeping succulents, etc., in a desert terrarium? You mentioned the one fellow would eat your aloe vera.
Yes, I got a lot of good advice. The first place that you want to put them, make that like cemented in or siliconed in. And then the insert, let's say it's a 4-inch pot, because you just get 4-inch plants. You just keep replenishing that. When they're done eating it, just keep replenishing it. I have yet to keep any one of my tortoises or desert animals not eating them. They eat them. So to me, it's just like food that's like in their natural habitat. But if you have that like in place, then it's real easy to keep replacing it with a new one. But I have no hints on keeping succulents alive. But that's how I keep succulents in the aquarium. In all of these is easily to be replaced. So I never like dig down and actually try to grow it.
Yeah.
It stays in a pot in there, easily swapped out. So now over here, this is Bagel's enclosure. He's my male leatherback. When he was rehomed to me, the family was in tears. There was such a loving family. The 5-year-old was in love with them. Their a-hole for a landlord said no pets allowed. Since when is like a bearded dragon like anything? So they had to get rid of it, and they were heartbroken. But I have had a Bagel for a very, very long time, and I love him. He roommates. Now he has been gone out of my sight for probably 6 weeks now. I think he's behind that enclosure, but he also has one of those enclosures that has multiple layers. You see it? So he can climb up here. There's a ramp to get up here. They all have litter boxes that are about 4 inches deep. filled with substrate so they can dig as far as they want. I keep the water up close because I have that 55-gallon drum. So I walk around with a 5-gallon bucket, dump the old crap, and just fill it up every morning as I walk around. Everybody but the Uromastics. I've never given my Uromastics water. I wash their lettuce, but I never give them water.
Coro said you might be able to keep a desert snake from eating the plants.
Let's see. This guy, this is Milo. I got Milo and Otis were given to me when I first started keeping reptiles. I took them outside. They were in a tiny a cage that had tiny things, and one of them got out, and I lost them. He's out in the world. Hopefully somebody found him and took him in. That was years ago. But I still have Milo. I just don't have Otis anymore. And Milo is sound asleep, but he's very friendly. He wants to come out all the time. And if you don't know about bearded dragons, when they poop like a grown man. It's gross. But it's like, oh my, what the hell is that?
We used to have a bearded dragon, and when my wife got pregnant, we ended up, we rehomed it to my brother, and they it's
especially after like a day that they get treats like hornworms. Like Clementine does all the time, but he is nothing. He's just a tiny little thing. But these guys eat them, and then it's like, oh my God, why did I give them? But they love them so much. They really do. Hopefully I don't lose you. I kept turning. There you go. Now, I showed Bob this. I'm going to show you. Because who cares? I don't care what you think. This is a rare find that it's my granddaughter's toy.
Very healthy.
I put him in here. Yep, he stays in there. And this black stuff is the garden mulch to keep weeds down.
Yeah.
I have it covering like all 6 inches up here to hopefully stop the glare in my eyes. Because I didn't think about it when I made all the ones waist high is perfect. The ones that are eye height, it's blinding when you walk in here when every enclosure has something bright shining in your face.
Oh, yeah.
And this window was probably my favorite one that I installed. It works like a dream, except where the handles popped off. So I have no handles. Come here, buddy. Oh, he's mad at me. You see him get all flat?
Yeah.
I'll bring you to him because he's mad I woke him up.
Well, he did get flat.
It's Sunshine. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. And he was given to me probably this year. Just recently. I forget who gave him up. It's funny, like a lot of people don't realize how long they live. I think they thought it was going to be a couple-year thing. But it's not. My Sheila lived until she was 13.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got one upstairs that's older, my older lady. She brumates. Oh my God, I think she hibernates. I don't think she brumates. She hibernates. She's gone. She gone. This is, you see this? My freezer. It's supposed to be a refrigerator freezer, but I have it turned down. I keep all this food that API. I'm so blessed that they send me different kinds of food. Because once they open it in their lab, they can't use it. Like they have to get rid of it. So I like volunteer, like I'll take it. I can't take it. So that's my freezer down here. I'm pretty excited that I've had that. Did I show you the turtles and tortoises down here?
No.
So this right here is my cherry heads. These are 3 cherry heads in here. It's 4x4. They have hides and jungle gyms to walk through and everything. These are my 2 sulcatas. It runs from here, 4 foot. Then it's got 4 foot here. another, this is 3 foot, a truncated one, and another 4 foot there. So they have all this, and this is just the winter. They have all that.
Oh,
So
so
they've
you have
got a lot of space.
it open to where they can go through.
They can go all the way back and around, but I have it so the cat can't get in there.
Yeah.
Because my cat is a really good hunter, and I love the fact that she hunts. I just don't know what she would do if she got the turtle. I thought I would be able to get peanut butter or jelly out. Jelly is this big. Peanut is this big. They're both brother and sister. They were rehomed to me when I was working at probably 5 years ago. And they were 4 years old when I got them. And they had a little bit of, not mistreatment, but they weren't given vitamins. They were in a small, like a 20 long. These are sulcatas. So now they have the outside. I'm going to be cutting a doggy door in my shed for them so that they can have that. That's the turtles and tortoises. Is this in the way? Let me move this over.
Edie
Oh,
said that's really nice.
This blue tongue skink, and blue tongue skink. Of course, they're all. Come here. Does anybody want to come out? This is a very hard to open and close. Thank goodness I'm not afraid of them. This one opens, but look at what happened to the wood today. This is supposed to be my inner rail. The whole wood thing just came out. Like, I don't know what I did wrong. Wow. So this glass really isn't in place. I could push it and it would fall in. Now, if that was in the Chinese water dragons enclosure, that'd be an issue. But they only come out when they see me coming with food. Then they're like, wow, right up in my face. And their food, I get some hate for this, is cat food pate. And then I got blue. You're supposed to switch them from cat food to dog food when they get over a year because of the protein levels. Right. But they didn't like the dog food pate. So I got this just so that I knew that they were eating. Oh, here comes Indigo. He's my angry skink.
I saw something moving.
See him here?
I saw those cans.
So I try to keep at least 2 levels. So they have the whole first level and then they can climb up. He's got a flower box that he can dig down because they are diggers. Look at this guy. He looks angry all the time. He doesn't look like the other 2, and they're all northern blue-tongue skinks. But he looks a little different. Now, this is not a 4 foot one. That's a 3 foot one. But it's 3 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot, so it's plenty big. This is my leopard gecko. She'll probably come out. But if you can see over here, they have a view of a 20-gallon aquarium. But she's not going to come out because they really do. They don't come out that often. They come out. Oh, she's underneath that the pool, the water tub. Now Sapphire, who's in here, would come out and I'd show you, but she's sleeping. I might be able to get her. Let me see if I can get her. She might not be mad.
I came for Sapphire.
Huh?
I came to see Sapphire. Wake her up.
Yeah, we got Sapphire.
Socorro says you should try the Honest Kitchen, Suzy. It's dehydrated, and you add water to make it wet food. They make it for dogs and cats. It's kind of like it's called the Honest Kitchen. It's dried food. It's kind of like Repashy. And you can go on their website and they'll send sample bags.
Okay. This is my Sapphire.
Oh, man.
This is my oldest blue tongue skink. I have all females. I would love to breed them. Look at how fat she is.
Wow.
She's a little fatty. Look at that tongue. Is she not the most beautiful? Who needs a snake when you got a skink?
Yeah. She's what made me fall in love with Nelson.
Look at that. Ooh. She's so cute. I love her. Oh, my God. Now, she gets a little wiry when her feet are dangling, but she's so big I can't hold both feet unless I do something like this. Now, if I did this with the Iroquois, he gets like really mad at me. That's just his name. He's also a northern. We love all the sample bags. I got to try a sample bag. And up here is the one I got from Underground Reptiles. And the only reason I got him was because he had mouth rot. And I had to give him intramuscular injections twice a day. That was horrible. Horrible, I say. Horrible.
Wow.
But is that not the most beautiful reptile? Like, I love her. I'm sorry, I woke her up. Sorry.
She really is.
And she too has, I don't know if you can see, 2 levels. She got one of those hamster houses right there that she loves to go in. She's got one of those, it's a 2 foot by 2 foot rabbit, a bottom floor for a rabbit cage.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've got it filled with substrate so she can dig down and go under. She got tunnels. I built these platforms here for all the enclosures so that I thought they would need help stepping up. None of them need help stepping up. I could have gotten a lot more elaborate, and I might put in literally like a second level with just a ramp going up to give them twice as much more space.
Nice.
But this is Sapphire. Yeah, my very first blue-tongued skink. And every time I get them, because I can only afford them when they're tiny, I never know what sex they are. And so far I got 3 females. I'm not going to be doing any breeding that way. But this one is, I can open this, the whole glass just comes right out. Thank goodness she's not very aggressive, you know what I mean?
Hey, Mike.
She usually comes out. They love water. They love water. She's got one of those big, I'll show you. Like this is Sapphires. I was doing it before. So it's just always a big tub of water that can get in. And basically what he does, he gets in and poops in it and keeps going. So I got to keep changing it like a couple times a day. It's like ridiculous. But to each his own. I might like pooping in water once in a while, you know? Who knows? And I'm constantly have to look, is that enclosure closed? Closed. And this is what I do every day. Fed, not. Because they don't eat the same foods. I make sure everybody's fed, then before leaving, close. Because sometimes when I close this side, this one stays open. So I got to be really careful. Close. And there's another blue-tongued skink here. He's my newest one. He was captive born and bred, but he acts crazy wild. But I know he's not wild because we don't have him here. I really like it when my turds drop in water. Exactly, right? Such a wise ass.
When you said that, it made me think of the girl that was on some video, and she said, because when I got in the shower, and then she said the S word, but she said I pooped, and then everybody was like, what? And she's like, doesn't everybody poop in the shower? And I'm like, oh my God, no.
Wow.
Yeah. And these things, black shower curtains, what is this? Oh, okay.
That
But
went
this is
sideways
hiding
quick.
my electrical. I cannot thank Terry enough, Terry's Tropicals Tanks, for putting out that video. First, he sent it to me privately. And it made sense because everything I had was daisy chained. But he showed me how to use those electrical boxes, how to set them up so it's just almost the same as daisy chain, but it's not the same draw on the electricity like a daisy chain. So I'm like, So one outlet is all timers. So everything's on the same timer. The other outlet is a constant.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have another one, the same over here. They each have their own fuses. They're on their own separate, are they called fuses anymore? You know what I mean. Clickety.
Breakers.
Yeah, breakers. Thank you. And something is wrong with like these two up here, which is really irritating because I designed this with exactly how many I need. And since those two are missing, I had to put this in, which I didn't want to put something else in. It's like an extension cord. It's like a daisy chain up here. So this goes to the fogger. I literally turn off the fogger. See if you can see the fogger. Meet the foggers. Let's see. Can you see the fogger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the Chinese water dragon. He has two enclosures. So his goes from here all the way up to here is a level, all the way up to here, which is another level. Oh, can you see it? Up to there. So he's got the largest one. And you would think I don't, and I have two of them in here. You would think I don't have any.
Where's he at?
Oh, I see him. See him right down there? They love the mist. They love the fog. You can see his tail right there.
Oh, okay.
He's about 2.5 feet long. He's also a nose rubber, which is why I put these here. Because if he sees me, they are known to rub their nose raw to where they don't have a nose anymore. How sad is that? They just keep rubbing up against the glass, and there's so many pictures of them on Facebook that they're just missing half their face. I'm like,
Oh my God.
So I set this up so hopefully that it hasn't happened yet. There's a smaller one about this big in here. And Mushu is, can you see my hand? This big, with the tail this big.
Wow.
And it's really hard to miss. And he was just displaying himself so brilliantly on this log until I set up the camera. And then he went over there. And let me tell you, if I grabbed him by the tail to pull him out, I would get whipped. He would whip me good. Let me tell you, he would whip me bad.
Dee Dee wants to know what is a good brand of fogger.
Oh, this is a humidifier. This is just a regular cold air humidifier that I use in here. I wish I could show you. It's behind, I put it behind a log so you can't really see it. So it's back there behind a fake log. And I have it on, it's not even on a timer. And I just like turn it off. All these other ones have to stay on because they're either belly heat or things like that.
How do you fill that up?
I just pull it out. Like he's gentle. He's not going to hurt me. He's not going to hurt me. But if I grabbed his tail to pull him out or pulled him out, he would whip me. He would whip me really good. The only problem with him is he's gentle. He's loving. His claws are like razor sharp. So like if I just was to wear this, he wouldn't hurt me on purpose, but I would be bleeding.
Mm.
And he would want to climb to the top as part of me, and then it'd be pooped down my back. So he is one of my pets that I don't fear him at all. He's one of the most gentle ones I have, but I don't hold him either. So he's in there. And that's where he stays. He doesn't ever seem to, and a couple of times I've let him out, but I get scared because I got some mouse traps up here. Yeah, I'm going to show you. Way up there, I got mouse traps. Up there. So, and no, they're not the, oh, I love give a kind mouse traps that I can let them go somewhere. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Bob. I know you like mice. I don't like them in my house at all. I found one floating in my fish tank 2 years ago. That's when I knew I had a problem. It dropped into the fish tank and drowned.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and my fish didn't die, thank God, but I did 100% water change. But it's just too close. And I know it's hard because any mouse can get down here with the tortoises and eat their food. I guess it's a free-for-all. Bob, Suzy, and Skipper. Y'all know Mike made you famous. How did Mike make us famous? Ooh.
He has a song on his YouTube channel that he had wrote for. It's called "The Bottom of the Chat." You gotta listen to it. It's pretty good.
I've heard it. I didn't know we were in it though. I've heard it twice.
Neither.
So if you watch the video, he has lyrics now.
Oh.
And you can follow along with it, and then you
cool.
see the names and everything. It's a pretty good song.
I wonder if he'd mind if I played it on my channel. Like play it to people so other people can hear it too. I'll have
What do
to
you
ask
do with those mouse corpses? Do you feed them to anything?
No. No, because John Baga, in all his wisdom, said no one ever put poison out all over my house before I caught him and stopped him. Said, no, 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 no. First of all, if I get an animal out, they're going to eat the poison because they make it attractive. They taste like, oh, please do. Thank you. Cool. They taste like peanut butter. Dude, what if the mouse goes in here and one of my animals decides to eat them? Now they're going to die. Like, no. So I had to go around and get all his poison traps up and out, put them in a bag. I didn't throw anything away, but like, oh, it was a huge fight. Huge fight. He goes, what do you want to save them all? And that's not what I was doing. I care more about my animals, my pets. Like, I don't want my pets to die. And he goes, oh, they're not going to die. I'm like he doesn't see how dangerous that is.
It's called the
spray Windex on an aquarium kind of thing. Like, no, don't.
It's like the circle of life. Circle of life. Whatever that thing's eating, it eats. It's gonna get the same thing.
Right, but Zoe and I do bury them because we like all life forms, and just like I do my larger fish, the chickens, we bury them. Have a service for them. Ask God to take care of them. They, they're just not for me in my house. If they're outside, I don't care. I lift things up in the pond when I see 2 or 3 mice running around. I'm not going to chase them out. Have fun. It's where you live. Just stay outside my house.
The bullfrog will get you.
Yeah.
That's right. And I really think one day one of these kois, because one of my kois is this big already. I'm wondering if a koi would try to eat one. Like, they're getting big. It's like, dang. And they were just like little teeny things when I got them, when I built the pond. And they're like this big now. Yeah. Especially my yellow one is starting to get big. He's about this big. So someone told me that having a yellow koi is like putting a fast food sign up for the herons. Like, just because they see them so from far away. But so far, I have the canal back there and the river over there, and I have not had a heron in my yard. But it might have something to do with the Labradors.
Well, that you kind of live in a residential area too.
Yes, but they're here. They're right there in the canal. They're right there in the Delaware River.
Yeah, but they're not going to come in your yard. If you got a lot of houses around, they're not coming, and especially with the dogs, they ain't coming.
Did you wake up? Some of these branches I have are so gnarly. I keep thinking, oh, is it somebody is behind me making noise? So somebody woke up. But yeah, oh no, and then there's my mountain lion. Let's see if I can find him. I'm going to show you where he lives.
Mountain lion.
He lives here. It's actually called a mountain dragon. We call him a mountain lion. This is the chair that the heater sits on, and it goes right inside the screened aquarium, a screened tank, because I came in one time and he was starting to get so dark. I was like, I don't want him to get killed. Hi, buddy. Oh, he's in the shed. He's not going to like me. That's all right. This is my mountain dragon. When I got him, I think it was at Petco. They told me, don't worry, he's captive bred. We know the breeder. Well, he had a horn and it fell off, and I did some research. Hey, Rico, I did some research, and it said if their horns fall off, they're probably wild caught and trying to adapt to your environment. So that made me pretty sad. But he is a couple years old. He's like everything else, but he's in the screened enclosure. He has like a 10-gallon pond down at the bottom. Loves all the insects. Very gentle. Very sweet. Very sharp claws. You see his claws?
Oh, yeah.
Very, but he is just an absolute sweetheart. He reminds me of like a tiny agama maybe or something.
Yeah.
But look at that tail, and he's so sweet. And he's a great hunter. I never have to feed him. I can put any kind of insect in the screened enclosure, and he'll find it. He'll find it. Let me show you the screened enclosure. So what I did is I used these archways on one on each side so that I could put wood going back and forth this way. And there is the pond down there. That's a ficus tree I killed. And he's got step ladders. He climbs, he hides. There's times I cannot find him. And I know he's in here, but he's so good at hiding.
Where did you get that ladder, Susie?
This?
Yeah.
Oh, that's at any one of the pet stores. This was used for gerbils or rabbits. Gerbils are hamsters, rabbits, like one of them critters that have teeth that never stop growing.
I got one, but it's got a small like coconut house on it, and it's in one of my rat snakes enclosure.
Ah. Yeah, I love that. And I love building these things. Now, this is the enclosure that I had for Clark. He was my, what was he? Had him for years. The name escapes me right now. But I got him when there were some people moving out to Carolina and they didn't want to bring them because they're very delicate. Bob, you have one. You had one.
What is it?
Veiled chameleon. My bad.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a veiled chameleon. So I had this set up for that for years, and then he passed away. I was so sad. Everybody in my family was sad when Clark passed away because we had this thing. They like to be hidden. They don't like to be seen. So we would always pretend that we didn't see him. Like, I know it sounds silly saying it out loud now, but the whole family was in on it. We'd be like, where's Clark? I didn't see Clark. Oh my, I wonder where. But anyway, we had him for years and then he died. And I couldn't tear down his cage. So I've had this screen thing set up. The real plants that were in here when he was in here have all died. And then I saw this and I'm like, oh, he gets a screen enclosure? Bingo. So I probably got him just because I had the enclosure and then I fell in love with him. Yeah, but I think he is sweeter than Clementine. He's probably my sweetest reptile that I have.
Mine is a girl. She's a juvenile, and her name's Okra, and that's Floyd's best friend. He sits on top of her screen all the time, and she goes over and sits by him. They're so funny.
Yeah. Dee Dee, I think you're right. I don't care what anyone says. If I'm apomorphizing, whatever that fancy word is, when you project human feelings onto a reptile, yeah. I think he liked it. He liked not being seen. He liked that we came up to the cage and looked the other way and pretended like we couldn't see him and stuff. And he loved the enclosure.
I thought about
I think he gave him a decent life.
I thought about a panther chameleon.
A what?
A panther chameleon.
Oh my gosh, those are gorgeous.
They are. They're expensive.
Oh, Skipper. That's the cream of the crop, in my opinion.
It was whenever I first started watching YouTube. Well, this would have been 2018 when I really started watching a bunch of different channels, and it was on Blake's Exotic Animal Ranch. He was at this one place, buddy's house down in Florida that had like a red one, a blue one, and I think a mixture. I can't remember. It's been a long time ago. But I was like, man, that's the one I want. Like, those are cool. But Bob's right. They're cool. Really
personality, just so much personality and so breathtaking colors.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so cool. I hope you do get one so then I can see them.
I would like to, but man, they're a lot of money.
They have one at the local Petco here, and I even did a little short video on it a couple months ago. It's been there forever, but it's like $300.
Yeah, they're $300 and $400, even if you go to a breeder and get one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did an interview with a guy named Blue Dog. I think we had him on our show. And he has a couple of them, and he breeds them. And he gave like this amazing breakdown of how to take care of them.
Yeah.
Santa brought, I missed it. What did she say about Santa bringing?
Oh, a new enclosure for her anoles.
See, she's already upgrading.
Bigger. Yeah. Awesome.
Is that the one she caught it outside her house?
I don't think so, is it? Is it?
She lives in North Carolina.
I know it got out once, but it came back. Got out of the enclosure. She found it.
So I was all worried for nothing. I was really nervous. I'm glad I did this.
Huawei's letting us know that June is going tonight, or it's going now, I guess.
Next.
Ooh.
Next. Okay.
So Jenny Lynn has a question for Suzy. You got any
Yes.
tips for crested geckos? They seem super easy, but it's always nice to hear a good tip.
Ooh. I have had my crested geckos. It's like if a 40-gallon breeder was tall. It's a front opening, very tall tank. You know, they love to climb on glass, but they don't like they leave, can I say it? They leave jizz everywhere, like but anyway, they I miss them down all the time. I keep tons of plants in there, and it's easy to keep the plants alive because they're in there. They're probably the easiest. They don't even need anywhere near as much humidity as a leopard gecko. But if you're keeping more than one, like females are fine. You add the male for breeding. They get to lay 2 eggs, whether they're fertile or not. So make sure you have a fertile either substrate a couple inches deep, or at least a cat box filled with substrate so that they have a lay box in there. Let's see. We do the crested gecko food. We usually do Pangea. It's like the consistency, of baby food.
Yeah.
I've tried bugs. Mine will not eat bugs. I've had several eggs. Daisy got egg bound. I was able to do not massages, but unbound her, which was amazing. She lived for another couple of years after that. I think I had babies. I had 2 babies at one time, but in the back of the enclosure is a little slide block that you can put wires through, and then you slide it closed. This was still open. So they got out, and I found them as like dust bunnies. I was so sad because they never had babies after that. Like, but I love my and mine is in a bioactive enclosure. The fogger, they have these $10 foggers. They're super cheap. It's about this big, and it goes in water, and it emits so much fog. It's super cheap, super affordable. They come with different screens. Like if it gets calcified, you just swap out the screen. I just swap out the sponge. And I put them in, those containers, the deli cups that the green hornworms come in?
Yeah.
I put a lid on it, poke holes in the lid so the fog comes out the holes, but they can't get into the water because that water can get hot. I lost one frog one time because of that, and never again. So now you can put the lid on, but you still get all the fog and everything, and it's so easy to disguise. Like if you put that deli cup in there, you just have to wrap moss around it. And it just looks so cool. And I had that in the gecko, crested gecko.
Like you seen from the swamp thing.
Yes, yes. And my crested geckos love to be handled. Well, I shouldn't say they love. They tolerate it very nicely. Not like my leopard geckos will not. It's like the leopard geckos, you got to go hand over hand over hand over hand. I just put them away like it's too much work for me. They're not liking it. But the crested geckos, but they're jumpers.
The leopard geckos,
you better be ready to catch.
Yeah.
They just jump.
Leopard gecko bit me one time. I'll never do it again.
Yeah, I can't wait for to see them. They're very similar to the morning geckos. The morning geckos are just tinier and don't need a male to actually have fertile eggs. They just lay eggs that are fertile.
It's just chickens, Rico.
Yeah, it's chickens behind scene.
And Floyd's here, but he's sleeping. He fell asleep.
Yes, I did a tour of my reptile den.
You've got a lot of.
If anybody is in Southeast Pennsylvania and is a carpenter and knows how to do sliding glass freaking windows and wants to help me, I'm open. Just saying. I got to redo all of them. Like this one falls out. This one pops out. This one's not even attached. It's not even attached. Some of them don't close. I literally have to. It's like, why can't I see people do it on TV all the time? Like Tanner, he just builds them and goes, look this, but he uses the nice metal slides and everything.
He's a carpenter too.
On it, yeah.
The problem is you have a place like if you get the metal slides, you may have to trim the glass again.
We should talk about this. I end up having to buy new glass because there's no way I'm trimming glass.
Or you could take it to Ace Hardware and they might trim it for you.
Can we talk about the lesbian geckos? Yes, I could talk about morning geckos all day long. I love my morning geckos. They go really well in a dart frog enclosure wise, guys, Sam. And they're not lesbos. They just need the other one to instigate. Well, I guess that is, huh? Maybe he's right. Never mind. Never mind. But I do love the morning geckos. They're very expensive, though.
The gray bag of Pangea. That's interesting.
Oh, for the crested geckos?
Yeah.
And I keep everything needed in case you want to pull the eggs out and incubate them yourself. They don't need an incubator. I have a bioactive enclosure, so they do it right inside the enclosure. But you want to be safer than me letting them out, getting out of my enclosure. Put them in another enclosure. It's just like a little egg carton. You have some vermiculite, keep them moist, put them there. Bada bing, bada boom.
Suzy, you about talked yourself to death, I think.
I did.
You really up for this? Did we see everything? Everything that?
No, just this room.
Oh,
I've got the leopard geckos and the things in the other room and stuff. Those I do on my stream. I'll show them on my stream a lot.
Or a part 2.
But it's very important that I have in this room because it's like 8 foot by 8 foot with the enclosures here. These are my work boot roller skates. I roll around in here while giving them water and food. These stay in the basement. They stay down here.
Cool.
And then I get my exercise in and I roll around. I kid you not. I look like a total flaming idiot, but that's okay. Okay.
It works.
And it makes it fun.
As long as you're happy, that's all that matters.
That's right.
That's what John says. That's what John Baggett says. Whatever floats your boat, girl. But yes. And I didn't show my shelf because I don't think anybody cares about my shelf. It's just filled with like what you would expect any reptile room to have. Extra lights, extra UV. Oh, I am going to do a video on UV. I have a meter that checks your UV. Because they say the UV you have to replace every 6 to 8 months. But
Right.
It's not always because it loses its UV. Sometimes it spikes high on the UV and can damage your reptile that way too.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to do a video on that and show my little UV meter and how I test my UV.
Where did you get that at?
I got it at a reptile show probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Dang.
Yeah.
I need to find one.
Yeah, because I'm not one to just every 6 months replace something because somebody told me to.
I've been doing mine.
Well, I hear you. I wouldn't want to neither.
I don't have that kind of money.
Big Steve, you missed the tour, but you can go back and do rewatch it.
Woo.
Yep.
And this is my Chicago Aquashella shirt. The only Aquashella I went to, I drove 675 miles in my car, rented car, slept in my car at a drive-through thing, just to go to Aquashella. I wish they had them in this part of the country, but they don't. I'll probably never go to another one again.
Here either. It's either Florida or Texas. It's not near me either.
Yeah, neither one of them is anywhere near.
Florida, Texas, Chicago. There was talk about one in Vegas.
That's even
if I go to Vegas, you won't see me until it's time to go home. You'll find me at the poker table. Sorry.
I didn't gamble much.
Any
love
final thought or advice for any fish keepers that are getting into reptiles or thinking about it?
Yes. Don't believe everything you see on the internet.
Reptile.
Imagine like what we do with our fish. We know that we can keep nanofish in a 75-gallon. That's not a wasted space. You get to see what they're really like. If you're going to have an enclosure and you have room for a 6-foot long enclosure, build a 6-foot long one. You don't have to buy one, but give them room to space. And if you only have room for like 3-foot enclosure, put a second
Right.
story on so that they have lots of space, because this is going to be their home for the rest of their lives. Like, and to keep them in an aquarium, because that's what we have. Very few of them, I can't think of any of them that understand the concept of glass. So they run into the glass. Like my tortoises will run into it and run into it. They don't get that that's the end. And the Chinese water dragon will rub up against it till he has no nose left. Like, it's horrible. But even these that I got before I had the glass, I took silicone, smeared it on the glass with gloves, and then took coconut coir and just threw it on the walls. So the walls look like they're dirted, and all it does is stop that reflection. Like, especially with bearded dragons, people think it's cute that they're bobbing their head up and down or waving like this. That's all very, very stressful for the bearded dragon. Either he sees his reflection and he wants to fight, make love, he's being submissive. None of it is like a healthy thing just because he's seeing his reflection. And that's all I can say. And know the longevity of a reptile before you get it. I can't tell you how many are rehomed to me because they thought it was a 10-year pet. I didn't know he was going to live 40 years or what. Like, just know how long they're going to live, you know, before you purchase it because it's cute or because it fits. It's a big deal. I feel like it's a big deal because I feel bad, but anyway.
Don't worry, Suzy. If something happens to you, I'll get yours.
John would be very happy about that.
Yeah, I bet he would.
Because I'm
He's
so much.
already, if he heard you, he's already boxing up Sophie and sending them to you.
I'm so much younger than you, so I'll have them a long time.
Anyway,
Well, thank
I
you,
hope
Suzy. I think we ought to have a part 2, though.
Of what?
Of
Oh,
their
like
other
when they're
stuff.
awake? I
Yeah.
can do it when they're awake, but I'd have to record them during the day because they are creatures of habits, man. When they
You
go to
could-
bed, they go to bed. Like,
You could
Like,
do
I
one of
couldn't
those when you're playing it live and hosting it, talking about it. What's it called?
Um,
Those used to be popular, but I don't see them much anymore.
oh man, it's like a presentation.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a possibility.
I lost the word.
I know. All right.
thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, Suzy. Appreciate it. Enjoyed it. Guys, if you didn't get to see it, go back and watch it. A lot of good information shared.
Yes,
Lots
yes,
of
Big
good-
Steve. It's Timberland skates. They're my work boots.
Premiere. Thank you, Rico.
Yeah, Rico. There you
Ah,
go.
yes, the premiere.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
man,
right.
I forgot about them.
Skipper, thank you for
Mhm.
being on the panel again. And are you enjoying it? You don't keep reptiles, but you seem like you're enjoying it.
Well, I'm learning. That's what
All
I
right.
wanted to do.
Same
There's
here.
so many options. And when you
Mhm.
said that panther chameleon, man, that's just like if you're going to really save up to have one amazing pet, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be an amazing pet.
Okay. Thank you, Huawei, and thank you, everybody in the chat. Great questions. Thank you, members. And there's a link in here for June. I think she's already going, so that's where I'm headed. And thanks, everybody. And we will see you Sunday on Tennessee Fish Mafia. And
Unless
that
you
will,
stop off at Q Aquatics and Exotics first.
right? And
I think I'm getting Whip. Whip is going to be on my channel.
oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I hope he remembers. If not, it's going to be me talking about Whip.
We had him on Tennessee Fish Mafia several months ago. Remember, he was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Skipper's also on Sunday evening. So
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll have a stream Sunday. It's going to be with Professor Fish Tanks Usama.
Oh, cool.
nice. All right. So that's
It's going to be a
that's
great
enough.
lineup on Sunday.
It will be. See you, everybody. Good night. Thanks again, Suzy.
My
Trying to
pleasure.
get this